Hello everyone, myself Prakhar Rathore. I am currently pursuing my MTech from IIT. Currently, I am in 10th semester of study. But today, we are going to learn about program evaluation and review technique, that is PERT. Starting with the introduction of PERT. So, the PERT was developed in the late 1950s in the US, the Polaris submarine missile program. It has the potential to reduce both the time and cost required to complete a project. Second, PERT shows the time taken by each component of project and the total time required for its completion. PERT breaks down the project into events, activity, and lays down the proper sequence, relationship, and duration in the form of a network. PERT is a technique of representing project plan in a network that is represented in a graphic form known as network diagram. We'll talk about network diagram in detail further. Coming to the definition of PERT, the program evaluation and review technique, commonly abbreviated as PERT, is a statistical tool used in project management which was designed to analyze and represent the task involved in completing a given project and to illustrate the flow of events in a project. Okay. So, talking about network diagrams, network diagrams are the preferred technique for showing activity sequencing. A network diagram is a schematic display of the logical relationships among or sequencing of project activities. There are two main formats of a network diagram. First is activity on arrow, AOI diagram, and the another one is activity on node, AON diagram. In the first variant, the duration is denoted on arrow connecting diagram nodes. Such diagram type is called AOI diagram. In the second variant, in such diagram, the information about the task duration is denoted in the diagram node, and each task is represented in the form of a rectangle with definite set of fields. So in the first one, between the nodes, there are arrows connecting them. So the duration for the activities is denoted above that arrow. In the second one, the activity or the task is defined by the node itself. The node is represented as a rectangle. In it, it contains information such as the duration, its description, and the other information also. Okay, moving ahead. Needs of PERT. Prediction of deliverables. So basically, in a project, there are many tasks or subtasks. So, how much time is required to accomplish that task? It has the PERT helps the project manager to evaluate the total time required and helps in prediction of the deliverables. Second, planning resource requirement. How much is resources to be used in a particular project? The PERT helps in that aspect. Controlling resource allocation, internal program review, performance evaluation. So how a particular resource is performing in the project, it helps in the PERT helps in that performance evaluation. Uniform and wide acceptance of PERT. PERT is accepted and is accepted globally. Reduction in cost. PERT helps in reduction in cost, and it also helps in saving time by providing standard by providing the need by moving ahead, determination of activities, elimination of risk in complex activities. PERT provides flexibility. It helps in determination or evaluation of alternatives, useful effective control, useful decision making, and useful research work. Okay. So this diagram depicts the process in PERT planning. This planning involves the following steps. Okay. So first is identifying activities and events. The activities are tasks required to complete the project. The events marks the beginning and end of one or more activities. It is helpful to list the task in a table that in later steps can be expanded to include on sequence is duration. So talking about activities and events, let us briefly know what are activities and what are events. There's a difference between both of them. So an event where are we? Okay, events and activities. An event is a specific instant of time which marks the start or end of an activity. Event consumes neither time nor resources. An activity is the actual performance of the task and requires time and resources for its completion. It is the work required to complete a specific task. Second, determining the proper sequence of the activities. So, this step may be combined with the activity identification step since the activity sequence is event for some task. Other tasks may require more analysis to determine exact order in which they must be performed. Third is constructing a network diagram using the activity sequence information from the previous step. A network diagram can be drawn showing the sequence of the serial list and parallel activities. For the original activity on our model, the activities are depicted by arrow lines and milestones are depicted by the circles. So here we encountered a term that is a milestone. So what is a milestone? So a milestone is a significant event that normally has no duration. It often takes several activities and a lot of work to complete a milestone. They are useful tools for setting schedule goals and monitoring of progress. Fourth, now moving ahead, fourth step, estimate the time required for the activity. A distinguishing feature of PERT is its ability to deal with uncertainty in its activity completion time. So for it, the PERT uses a 3-point estimate. In it, instead of providing activity estimates as a discrete number, it's often helpful to create a 3-point estimate. The 3-point estimate consists of 3 times: the optimistic time, the most likely time, the pessimistic time. Talking about optimistic time, generally the shortest time in which the activity can, it is the generally the shortest time in which the activity can be completed. The most likely time, the completion time having the highest probability know that this time is different for the expected time. Pessimistic time, the longest time that an activity might require. An estimate that includes an optimistic, most likely, and pessimistic estimate, such as 3 weeks for the optimistic, 4 weeks for the most likely, and 5 weeks for the pessimistic time estimate. So the uh, PERT gives a weighted average formula for this. So the formula is as follows: PERT weighted average is equals to optimistic time plus 4 times most likely time plus pessimistic time whole upon 6. This would give us the PERT weighted average time. Okay, moving ahead. The next step would be the determining the critical path using the PERT weighted average. The critical path is determined by adding the times for the activities in each sequence and determining the longest path in the project. The critical path determines the total time required. Next, the last step is updating the PERT chart as per the project progresses. Make adjustment in the PERT chart as the project progresses. As the project unfolds, the estimated time can be replaced with actual times. The PERT chart may be modified and improved to reflect the new situation. It is the advantage of PERT chart that it can be modified. So as the project starts and the activities are performed and the tasks are performed and one by one the tasks are completed, the times and the estimated time for that task can be replaced with the actual times, so that we can get the real time progress of the project. Okay, moving ahead, advantages of the PERT chart. First is it is a PERT chart is simple and to use, and it's easier to understand. Second, it shows whether the project is on schedule or behind ahead of the schedule. It helps the manager in that aspect. Third is identifying the activities that need closer attention. It helps to identify the weaker points of the project that needs to be encountered, so that the project must be on time or on schedule. Fourth is determining the flexibility available with the activities. Next is potential risk with activities. Providing good documentation of project activities help to set priorities among activities and resource allocation as per priority. Application of PERT. PERT is used in research and development project for developing tooling, and introducing a new project, to plan and execute the acquisition and installation of an electronic system, development and administration of various training programs for management, development, and organizational planning. Limitation of PERT. A major disadvantage of PERT has been its emphasis only on time, not on cost. This is a major drawback. Because of that, this system will not help managers to solve all their problems. Because for a project to be completely estimated, its time and cost estimation both needs to be done beforehand to ensure the success of a project. But PERTs only consider the time aspect of it, not the cost aspect. The cost on setting up such systems are extensive. Yeah, it would require a much more cost and much more efforts to include. It is difficult to estimate accurate time and cost of various activities involved in project. Errors in estimation makes the PERT chart unreliable as a control. These were few limitations of PERT chart. Now An example of PERT to perform an operation for a patient. These on the left side we have activities, on the right side we have events. The activities could be prepare patient. The event would the following event would be patient is prepared, give anesthesia, anesthesia is given, prepared instrument trolley prepared, perform operation, operation is performed. So we had a network diagram for this. As we can see, patient prepares. The second step would be anesthesia is given. The third would be the instrumentation trolley. Now the PERT activity is an analysis is done on that same step, followed by an operation is performed, and the last would be the patient is discharged. So this would be all in a PERT and our tutorial for PERT. Hope you have understood it well. Thanks for giving your time. Have a nice day. Good day.